Good morning, students. So, today we come to the final and end of the chapter Weathering the Formation of Soil. Throughout this journey, we have been learning several terms and we have understood several of the processes which occur while the soil is being made. So today we come to the end of the topic where we are going to learn about the soil erosion. We have learnt formation of soil, how they break, how the rocks break to form soil. So today we come to the part where we learn that how this resource, which is so important for us, is getting eroded and how to stop it. So the top soil or the top cover on the planet of the earth is most important. It is a very valuable resource and it supports plants and animals. Now the top soil is the darkest. Why? Because it contains humus. It has the maximum amount of humus, that is remains of dead plants and animals. So it is the darkest part of the soil. Now the fertility of the soil, how fertile the soil is, depends on the structure of the grains of the minerals which are present, availability of organic matter, moisture, that is the water content of the soil. All these help in understanding and the fertility of the soil. Now, this soil is getting removed or it is getting destroyed by the action of water. See over here how when raindrops fall on the soil, it detaches the topsoil from the layer and washes it away. Similarly, wind is also another very important source which removes the topsoil from its place of stay. The removal of the soil layer is also due to the mining effects which human beings are carrying on, and also several other activities which humans are responsible for. Deforestation, overgrazing, mining activities which are unplanned, wrong farming practices all contribute to soil erosion. See over here how this entire area has been deprived of vegetation. Since vegetation, the roots of the trees, they bind the soil or hold the soil together, but because this entire area has been deprived of vegetation, it is very likely that large scale soil erosion will occur. Similarly, overgrazing. When animals are allowed to graze the grass, they not only eat the grass, but they also pull the roots of the grass and consume them. Now, this leads to the entire area to be laid bare as there are no vegetation cover to bind the soil. So a very strong wind can easily carry away the soil, that is the topsoil, which is so important for us. Elsewhere we find sheet erosion and gully erosion being very common. Now sheet erosion occurs where there is very heavy rainfall, and if that area does not have enough vegetation, the entire soil cover, that is the topsoil, will be carried away, as if a sheet is being removed from the top of the bed. Similarly, the entire topsoil is carried away, and that is why it is known as a sheet erosion. Here we see another aspect of rainwater destruction of soil, and that is gully erosion. Again, due to lack of vegetation, when the rainwater falls on this area, it begins to make narrow furrows or trenches along the soil over here. With more of rainfall, these furrows begin to become broader, and ultimately it leads to this kind of a structure. This area ultimately can become a bad land, unfit for any kind of cultivation, which is again a loss of our important resource, and that is soil. Here we can see other ways in which the soil is getting eroded. You can see over here mud flow due to the moisture of which the soil has. A gradual flow of the mud keeps on occurring. Here also we can see all these electric poles bending towards the road. It is an indication that gradually, very slowly, the soil is creeping away from the highland. Here we can see landslides, which we have already talked about, flow of debris. Due to lack of vegetation, we can see the soil coming down, and sheet and gully formation. You can see these narrow furrows, long narrow furrows, which ultimately become broadened, and this entire area becomes unfit for any kind of agricultural activities. Now, how to stop this kind of erosion, this kind of an erosion of the soil and damage to our resources? Now, there are several ways of conservation of the soil. Now, conservation of soil means that we need to protect this soil from getting wasted. So, how are we to do? The best way to conserve the soil is afforestation. That is, growing more and more trees, and large scale vegetation cover should be made, because we all know that vegetation can hold the soil together and keeps the nutrients in place. It also checks the wind. Now, wind plays a very dominant role in removing the top part of the soil, that is the topsoil. Wherever we grow crops, we need to have at least 2 to 3 layers of trees, which we call as shelter belts. So when winds will blow, they will not carry away the soil, because when crops get harvested, the entire field is laid bare. And if during that time a strong wind blows, it is very likely that this important resource, soil, will be carried away to far off place, and this area will become barren. That is, it will be deprived of the nutrients of the soil. So in order to stop it, we need to have such shelter belts. This is the diagram which shows the shelter belts, and this is a photograph where shelter belts have been made along the cropping or the cropped area. Elsewhere, we can have terrace farming. So in terrace farming, the hill is cut into terraces or flat lands. It is flattened so that crops can be grown over here, and the velocity of the rain is checked. Some other ways of saving the soil or protecting the soil from getting eroded, we can carry on contour bunding. Contour bunding refers to a small bund or a small wall is made after every step or after every contour. This checks the water from moving right from the top and carrying away the soil. In many places over the world, check dams have been made. Now, what are check dams? A check dam is a small, and sometimes it is a temporary dam constructed across a waterway to counteract the erosion by reducing the flow of the water. This is a very simple diagram of a check dam where you can see that walls have been constructed along this slope from where a stream is flowing. And this stream is not allowed to carry away the soil. This diagram, what it represents, you can see this photograph over here, how the water, the velocity of the water is checked so that it does not carry away the soil to the bottom of the hill or a mountain. These are a few more photographs of check dams which have been built across India. Several places in India we have got these kinds of check dams on the rivers so that it checks the flow of the river and saves the water from carrying away our soil. So students, with that we come to the end of this journey of soil formation. I hope you have enjoyed the journey right from the breaking of rocks to soil conservation. That is what we have enough for today. Thank you.